Hello everyone, this is Rakesh. Today I'm going to talk about EBGP Multi Hop. This is a very important, very crucial for the interview. If you're preparing for the interview for the network engineer role, you must know what is the EBGP Multi Hop. So let's talk more. By default, EBGP neighbor must be connected. We can see in all organization or commonly we see that is meaning, and we do not define TTL value there. So that mean by default TTL value is one. Uh, right, so we do not define if we are configuring the BGP neighbor; those are directly connected. But when suppose that we want to make a neighbors between two routers, those are not directly connected. In that scenario, EBGP multi-hop is needed. So you can see here EBGP multi-hop allow BGP neighbors to form a session across the multiple hops, those by increasing TTL value. So let's a little bit talk about what is the TTL value. TTL value is time to leave. I mean, TTL is a number in IB packet that tells the network how many hops or router the packets is allowed to pass through before it getting discarded. Right. So suppose why it's needed, because if you do not limit the TTL value, then traffic or packet will be travel infinite and create infinite loop that will use the waste the bandwidth and CPU as well, stuck in the routing loop. So that is why we use TTL value, right? Let's talk more with the diagrams here I mentioned, right? So you can see EBGP multi-hop explained in the diagram. You can see in normal EBGP scenario. So I am just forming the neighborship between two routers, and you can see those are directly connected. So by default, TTL value is one here. And if I want to make a neighborship between R1 to R4, right? And for your information, when we are cre- uh, creating a neighborship, forming a neighborship between EBGP multi-hop, so we cannot use a physical interface. We must be use the loopback IP. So that we need to take care. That is why it's mentioned here loopback only. And you can see if we are not use increase the TTL value here, then packet will be discarded, because if TTL value is one, then neighborship will be when it send the neighbors it's try to form the TCP connection, then it will be discarded over to R2. It will not packet will not go beyond the R2, because TTL value is a one, so it will discarded and at one hop, right? So here it will not form. And suppose that from R1 to R2 here, if you're forming a neighborship, and suppose that let's take upon R1 and R4, this one in middle diagram, maybe it should be R4 here, and we create the TTL value 5. Even we can, in this scenario, we can use TTL value 3 is sufficient also, because there is 3 hop, 1 2 3. So it can be formed the EBGP neighborship, right? So this is what we can explain as a I will explain more in later video, right? Why do we need EBG multi-hop? We already explained that, right? EBG multi-hop is used when they are not directly connected. We are using only loopback IP, right? Loopback to loopback. We are use mostly ISP core router peering via intermediate router, that there those were needed. An MPLS scenario we need, right? Without multi-hop, BGP session will never come. We already discussed, right? So how does BGP multi-hop works? We already discussed here, but let's talk more. That allow BGP packet to travel more than one hop, and this is done by increasing TTL value that we already discussed here. And suppose that if router from suppose that the packet is traveling from R1, R2, R3, and these are must be might be unknown, so that will be security risk. So while we creating a forming a neighborship, we can use the password as a we can use authentication as a MD5. So that is the best practice to use. And few of the interview question, why do we use EBGP multi-hop with the loopback address, right? So I discussed before. So you can see loopback are not directly connected. EBGP default is 1. So multi-hop is required to allow BGP packet to reach the remote loopback, right? Because right, because we cannot use physical interface, right? So that is, we can configure loopback IP and we can make a routable, because when, let's see here, suppose that if we are making a neighborship in R1 R2, and we are using 1.1.1 and 2.2.2.2, then these loopback should be reachable, pingable from the R1, between R1 and R4. So that is very important. So we need uh, some of the route here on between them to, so that is why we need loopback, right? And I think that is all in my videos. So thank you so much for your time. Yeah.